Hi, everybody. How are you? My name is Ryan Anderson, and I am the Associate Dean of Business and Entrepreneurship here at Mohawk College. Welcome to another Center Snackable session that we have going on today. Really excited to talk to Melanie Wong. Melanie is a Mohawk College success story, a SIR success story, and most importantly, her own success story. And she is conquering the world with her company called Olive and Splash. So, Melanie, hi. How are you? Thanks so much for being here today. And why don't you take a second just to explain what Olive and Splash is and then how you got started?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm the proud founder of Olive and Splash, which is a bamboo athluxury leisure line. And so we make hoodies and joggers, tees and tights, and everything from face masks and breathable face masks, athletic masks. We handcraft everything in Toronto and Burlington. And yeah, it's just, we've been so fortunate and so lucky to be able to suit up so many great people around the world. And we're just keeping at it.
How did you get started? What was the idea? Where did it come from? And how were those first initial days?
Yeah, so I started this company because of my nephew, who I wanted some really cool athleisure clothes for that I couldn't find. There wasn't anything in the market that was sustainable and eco-friendly. We chose to use bamboo in our apparel, and yeah, so there wasn't anything there. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to create this. I've always wanted to have a clothing line. I have a very creative brain, so that was very natural to me. I love marketing and I love sales and I love setting goals and I love working hard and I love kind of having my own schedule, and I've always been like that since a very young age. So for me to be, I'm not surprised that I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not surprised in the least. I tried. I've had more jobs than anyone you probably know. And if I didn't like something, I would leave. And I didn't know that I was on this journey to kind of figuring out who I was and what I wanted to do. And yeah, so in 2015, I incorporated. 2016, I really started working the business. I didn't have a lot of experience in the fashion industry. And so for me, it was a lot of learning. And so when you're learning, there's a lot of mistakes and costly mistakes. So I started in 2016 and we've had some great success since then.
It's interesting because I'm sure there was a time when, you're driving home. It's usually never at work. But I'm sure there was a time when you're driving home or going for a run or whatever it is, when it sort of hit you to go and say, whoa, I'm in this now. I'm here and I'm doing it. Was there that time? Can you think back to that, or was there a period there when you said, okay, well, this is real life. This is no longer my passion or my idea. This is really a business.
Yeah, so I had a job in automotive, and it was a really good job and very cushiony, and it paid well, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, and I think because there was a sales component about it, and that there'll always be this natural salesperson within me. But I wanted to focus on my clothing line, and if I wanted to do that, I mean, when you're in something, you have to be 100% in. You can't kind of have one foot in, one foot out. So I made the decision to walk away from that very cushiony job, and I took a trip. I traveled to Europe and to kind of just had like a reset. And when I was going to come back, I was going to focus 100% on my clothing line, and that's what I did. And so I started that in January, and I started becoming more creative with the products that we were going to bring in and the designs and whatnot, and what people could use. And you kind of really analyze what is taking place. And so from January to March, pandemic came, and we had a great success with our face mask. How I mentioned earlier, I saw that there was a need for a face mask because, unfortunately, what I was watching happening around the world, I could see that the pandemic was going to arrive in Canada, and that's exactly what it did. And so I had created this mask just prior to the pandemic showing up. And it was a very touchy subject. People told me not to do it. I was asked to take it down. I had insane emails sent to me. Just a big no. And every day I was actually afraid to go to work and open my emails because I've never experienced online bullying. I've never experienced any of that. And so I knew what I was going into, and it was scary. And so I kept with it because I believed that's what we needed. And I didn't care what anyone else that wasn't doing anything had to say. And so I stuck with it. And within a week or two, Dr. Tam had come online and she said any mask was better than no face mask. And the company grew 795% overnight, which was so cool. Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
Crazy cool, huh? And
Wow.
yeah. And so I'm watching my software just like with all these orders. And I'm like staring at this because I'm like, I have 24 masks and I'm selling them in packs of 3. How am I even going to fulfill this? And so I quickly like take my one sample and I run to the different manufacturers and I'm showing them and I'm like, I have this mask and I need to make it. But they don't know that I've sold anything. And they're like, you can't make PPE. Like, who are you? And, you're not a medical company. You're not this, you're not that. You're not what everyone tells us what you need to be to do what you want to do. And so one lady had come back and she started making my face mask and it was the only one that was trickling out. It was so cool to see. And within a couple of weeks, every brand was making a face mask and the manufacturing was filled right to the roof with that. And yeah, it was really, really cool. So we had great success with that. And, timing is very, very important in having a cool product that is in need. And then so we have redesigned our face mask 9 different times. And I think that's also what sets us apart from other companies is, a lot of companies and great companies came out with fantastic masks and continue to sell them. And, but we've redesigned it 9 different times because every face is very different. Your breathing capabilities and your needs and everything is so different from the person beside you. No matter, for me, I came out with this incredible athletic mask because I was mandated to wear a mask over my face while I was on a treadmill. And, that's not the easiest thing to do. And so I was like, we need to design something that's revolutionary that will allow the heat to dissipate through the mask as opposed to getting caught inside. And we've had amazing success with that. We have sports teams wearing it. We have the craziest restaurants, hotels, spa that needs to wear a face mask for long durations is wearing it. We to schools, to students, and everything else has been pretty amazing.
And I want to make sure our audience knows you didn't get in the business to sell face masks.
I didn't.
And that's it's really interesting because the pandemic has taken a different direction. I know that I've got a friend who was making Tesla auto parts, and they got retooled to go and make face masks in Cambridge, but your product is clothing, and now all of a sudden you're making face masks, and I think that's a great example for folks out there to know that you can get married to your idea and married to your vision, but you can also get divorced and go somewhere really quick. And that's something that's really interesting that, and I'm sure one day you're going to come away from face masks and go to something else, but it's important to know that you can go where a trend or where a need takes you as a business owner as well, isn't it?
Well, so we use the fabric in the beginning that we make all of our hoodies and joggers out of, which is a super luxe bamboo apparel. So what has actually happened too is it helped drive the rest of the company because we've manufactured hundreds of thousands of face masks, and like all of these people around the world in the United States, Canada, Switzerland, the Middle East to Central America have now gotten a piece of our fabric. And now they understand, okay, well, if this is what their face mask feels like, this is what their hoodie feels like. And it's now driven the sales of hoodies and joggers, tees and tights, because they now know like, oh, this is what this feels like. It's been pretty amazing. So it's driven that aspect of the apparel line as well.
It's almost like a sample in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's almost like a sample, right? So yeah, you could have this structure and we discussed earlier how things don't always fall into structure. I don't fall into structure. So it's
well, and that's really where entrepreneurship has really evolved in a lot of ways. We've said in other sessions that sometimes a crisis or something will create actually innovation because you have to. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't follow structure, and that's what makes them so successful as well. One of the other things that I was really impressed by, you see a lot of businesses now that have more of a social movement to them, more of a community to them. Really, they're relying on social media, and they take a look at social media, and that's really where a lot of their work comes from. You were telling me that obviously you've had success there with your followers and success there with building a community online, but you've also had a lot of notoriety and media attention through traditional media too, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have a software that will show us where our sales and interests are coming from and what percentage is coming from, whether it's Facebook, it's Instagram, an article or whatever. And a lot of our stuff has come from traditional media. And I don't know if it's time and space and place where it's maybe the demographic that's purchasing it. And instead of, I think that, maybe an older demographic is more prone to looking at CBC and, hearing what CBC has to say, or CTV News or whatever it may be, as opposed to going on Instagram and trying to find the best, the latest, the greatest. So I find that there's demographics, and a lot of it is coming from a traditional print, television, radio. And don't get me wrong, we do have quite a bit of that comes from our Instagram and Facebook, but it's a different demographic and it's a different age group, right? So we've been so lucky to have both these age groups. And then I'm also so fortunate that during the pandemic, we came up with this really cool concept of having a drive-through. And what that did for me was I'm still able to have face-to-face with my customers, and I'm still able to ask them, how did you find us? Why do you shop with us? What do you love? What do you not love about our products? And, if I was to send a digital survey out to maybe extrapolate that information from the customers, I mean, how many people really do those surveys? And not necessarily, maybe that's just me, but it's
They do them when they're angry. You ever notice that?
Yeah. They'll do a lot when they're angry. And so, but anyways, it's, I'm so fortunate to get that. And it's funny because I actually hired someone to work the drive-through so that I could focus on different areas of the business and growing it. And I found that I was losing very important information. The questions weren't being asked, the passion isn't there that I have. And so for me, the information that I once had to be able to grow and to, maybe redesign and do that kind of stuff wasn't there because that missing component wasn't pushing it through to me. So I got back on the drive-thru, and now when you come through the drive-thru, more than likely it's going to be me that's servicing you because it's a gold mine of information. It's a gold mine of information, and it's so valuable to growing this company. And I've learned so much.
So I want our audience to really see the vision here. So we started off with a clothing company. We then went to masks. We then had a clothing company that made masks, and now you have a drive-through. And I think I got that right. Did I not? I think that's really where that progression comes in. And I really want people to see the vision of this drive-through, because I think it's as an entrepreneur, you have to reinvent, you have to look to change, you have to be unconventional. And you have certainly done this. Can you explain to the audience the drive-through model, what you've done? And I know they will see that it's something that is just not done anywhere else right now. As the person who doesn't like ordering clothes online or furniture online, this is almost that happy medium, isn't it? When you can, instead of the storefront, you can shop online, go pick it up, look at it and say, yeah, I'm good. So can you explain what that model is and talk to us a little bit about your thoughts, how it's working, and why it's really changing what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the pandemic, I think, has really changed a lot of ways that people operate in their daily lives. And so when the first lockdown had presented itself, unfortunately, we couldn't have people in the building. And I had friends that were like, oh, I still need apparel and this and that. And so I said, oh, I've got this window, come by the window, I'll throw the bag out the window. And so when I threw that first bag out the window, I was like, I have a drive-thru. And so I opened a drive-thru. I created a small social media video, posted it online. Through that we had other editors writing about it, and then it just grew into bigger editors. And they've done an incredible amount of work to help push this drive-thru. We were named one of the 100 best pandemic pivots. We're named one of the small companies to look at for in 2021, and the best face mask made in Canada. So it's been really, really cool. And Yeah, so this drive-through is the first drive-through of its nature in the world, and you can drive through our company and you can order online and have your order there ready to be picked up. So something very similar to the Starbucks model, or you can come to the window and order directly at the window like you would at any other drive-through. And yeah, so we have we've created this really cool concept and people love it. Or, hey, I was looking online and I saw this really cool hoodie. Can you just show me this color and this size? Oh, great, I'll take it. And it's now brought window shopping to a whole other level. We also have people come in, which is great too. If you want to, you're more than welcome to, but you want to know what? People don't like getting out of their cars. They just love pulling up. They love like chatting and, hey, just show it to me. Great, I'll take it.
Good for you. So you're almost servicing both. You're servicing the shopper that wants that experiential sort of venture, and you're servicing the ones that said, okay, I like your stuff. I know what size I am. I also would think that would also really feel repeat customers too, wouldn't it? Because if they know what size fits them, they know what they like, they just look for something in a different color or a different style, whatever it is. So that's a real win for you too, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And I find we have a lot of, I forgot a birthday present this weekend. What do you have in this size, this color, or whatever it may be? And because it's, you're buying local and it's bamboo, it's sustainable, it's eco-friendly, it's made in Canada, all of this great stuff that even though it's like a quick little process, you're getting something really, really cool and handcrafted. And so yeah, we get that. And then I've made great relations with people that come by all the time and get the latest color or whatever the release it is. We've started a subscription. So now you can get a subscription of hoodies and joggers and tees and tights. And you just pick your subscription and a new one comes each month. You can choose your color. You can pause it. If you're not into, our newest colors that month, you can resume it when you want, but it's so great.
Love it. Love it. So let's finish off with something we always like to do here. You've had a fantastic journey so far, and we've talked quite a bit about the successes, and we've all had failures, because that's just what happens with this. What's that one tip that you would leave our audience with as far as starting your entrepreneurial journey, but also maintaining it and growing it? What's that one thing you would say if someone asked you on the street, what's the one thing I can do?
The one thing that I think what stands out for me and was so important to me is creating a community of like-minded individuals, because entrepreneurial work is like a roller coaster. It's up and down all the time. And there's days where you're high-fiving yourself and you're loving every minute because you're crushing goals. And then there's days that are so dark and they're so lonely. And, there's nights of endless tears and anxiety and questions of why am I doing this? And I find that having a great community of other like-minded business people around me to, kind of pull you out of those dark spots, or at least, inspire you and say, hey, this is what I was going through, or, hey, in this particular situation, this is what I would do. And just kind of reassuring you, because in the entrepreneurial world, depending on where you are and what you're doing, I don't walk into an office filled with people that are going to high five me and hype me up for the day. It's I'm pretty much alone, and a lot of my team is outsourced, and I work with other companies on all different things. So they have their own offices and their own companies. And so for me, it's really important to have a solid community around me that is going to understand my lifestyle. I love to work. I work a lot, and it takes like-minded people to understand and to accept that. And so if you can do that and find that, I think you're off to a great start. And in times when you feel like, why am I doing this? Don't give up. I had many, many, many of those days, nights, weeks, months of like, this isn't making sense. Why am I doing this? And persevering. And now, like I couldn't imagine if I gave up 1 week before, 1 month before our great success. It will come. You have to be passionate. If you want anything in this world, you can have it. You just have to want it.
I love that you've painted a very realistic picture when it comes to being an entrepreneur. I think we live in an age now where we glorify entrepreneurship, and we watch Dragon's Den, and we watch Shark Tank. We watch all these things, and we hear the success stories, because rarely does the media want to cover the ones that don't work out very well. And I love the world of entrepreneurship. I love the world of business, but sometimes I worry that people think that there aren't failures and there aren't stresses and there aren't lonely nights and there aren't things like that, because I think we owe it to entrepreneurs to new ones to understand that there's going to be a lot of wins and you're going to win. But you're also going to lose. And those are the journeys that you get to learn from. So I really appreciate your openness with that, because I think it really trumpets a message that we're trying to have as well.
Yeah, no, it's important because it's definitely not glamorous, and it's, funny. And some people that, reach out for mentorship, and it's, how do you get to, I don't even internalize myself that I'm successful or anything like that. I'm hands on deck. I do everything I do. Like, I always just feel like we can grow, we can be successful. This is where we're going to go. This is where we're going to get, and, yeah, you have to work hard, and you have to be passionate about what you do. And you have to be able to take those no's and those disappointments, because those come more than all the great wins. That's for sure.
Well, I will say to you that you are successful and that you've done very, very well. We're very proud of what you've done. And, it's just so much fun to talk to you about the journey. And I really meant that, to go from, clothing and apparel to mass, just because of what we're going through, back to clothing, apparel and mass. And now a drive-through, we can do all those things. And the fact that you would be the one that people will most likely see when they drive through means that you are willing to, sweep that floor, as we often say about entrepreneurs. And that's something that's a great tip. So, Melanie, thank you so much for the time you've spent with me this morning, and this session and some of the other ones too. And I look forward to talking to you in the future. Probably, as I said to you, having my daughters visit you really quickly to buy stuff. But most importantly, speaking to you again about all your triumphs. So thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. This has been a blast. Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, thanks.